Hi there, this is Ranjit, and in this video we'll be having a look at this POCO F6 smartphone. And the embargo for this was lifted about 2-3 days back, but I wanted to take a little bit more time to test out this phone before posting this video. So I will be actually also giving you my initial overview. What do I feel about this? In fact, now I've used it with my primary SIM for about 3.5 days. So this is the device itself, and it comes in this big box. Let me just show you. And the good thing is that big deal about this smartphone is that this is the first smartphone in India that is coming with this new Snapdragon 8s Gen 3, and that's the reason I took a little bit of time with this one, because I really wanted to test out and see how this new chipset is actually performing. And I'm happy to say that the performance of this chipset was actually good. Okay, it also has a dual layered camera, as you can see, and actually Sony sensors that we are getting, both the main 50 megapixel and even the ultra wide, both are Sony. And this is not a camera, guys, this is just what do you say, LED flashlight, just for decor or whatever. Of course, it has that 90-watt turbo charging, but the charger that we get in the box is actually the 120-watt charger. Screen, again, of course, it's an AMOLED screen, 120 Hertz. I'll talk about the screen later on. And it also has that Dolby Vision and stereo speakers, of course. And also this has IP rating, that is IP64 rating. And of course, it has that in-display fingerprint scanner, because this is the AMOLED screen that we are having. And the thing is that this device actually comes in the base storage I like is that it comes with 256 gigabytes of storage, which is having actually UFS 4.0 storage. That's actually a good thing. We also get a 512 gigabyte variant. Again, RAM will be 8 and actually 12. In fact, guys, here are all the specs, and as you can see from the specs point of view, it gets a lot of check marks. Now let's start with the screen quality on this one. In fact, this is having a 6.67 inch screen, and it's actually 1.5K screen. So that's slightly higher resolution than the full HD plus that generally we get. And in fact, it's a 120 Hertz AMOLED screen, so that way actually I do not have a problem. One thing that I really like about the screen is that many brands are quoting whatever nits, maximum nits and whatever. I don't care about that, but the good thing is that in the hot sun, that's Indian summer right now, when I was outside and actually shooting photographs and stuff, in fact I'll show you some of the photographs that I've taken, I like the fact that the screen was easily legible. So even in direct sunlight, I would say this screen can actually go plenty bright. That is something that I like. But the other thing is that in very low lighting conditions, for example, the other day at night, my wife actually asked me to close all the lights, and I was using the phone. Then it ramped down the brightness very low, and it was not hurting my eyes, and then also it was not flickering or something like that. So it's also good if you watch content and stuff in very low lighting conditions. In fact, if I recall, this also got that TUV certification for that anti-flicker or whatever is that. So that is there. So needless to say, I like the screen quality on this one, and of course it's a 120 Hertz screen. And out of the box, it comes with this new Hyper OS. If you have used any device with Hyper OS and stuff, you will know it's very, very familiar. And if I go to display, as you can see, I've forced it actually to 120 Hertz on this one. Refresh rate by default was on default, but I went to this custom and I've forced it to 120 Hertz. And all the battery stats, etc. testing I have done on this 120 Hertz. So yeah, this is what it is. And another good thing is that if we go to about the phone, this is coming with the what do you say, Android 14. So you're getting the latest version of Android. And now POCO team has promised next 3 Android upgrades and 4 years of security upgrades, which is an improvement, I would say, compared to earlier POCO phones. So that's what you are having on this one. So again, in terms of fluidity, I would say HyperOS is very fluid. That's the same case even with this smartphone. And this is the typical UI that you are getting left. You have the actually app tray was there, but you can put your Google tray also over here. I haven't actually done that. You can just go to the settings over here, and if you go to more, as you can see, Google Discover App Port. By default, I had the app vault, so I have just selected that. You can easily do that. Another thing I noticed is that there are actually quite a bit of pre-installed apps on this one. In fact, as you can see, I have installed one of them to see if it is working. Yeah, Facebook was also there. I haven't uninstalled it, but as you can see, these are the apps. But you can uninstall. For example, let's do this LinkedIn. If I go to LinkedIn, you can uninstall it. So a lot of some of the extra apps were there, but yeah, you can uninstall them. Also, I've noticed a bunch of games also actually pre-installed. These were pre-installed on this one, but again, these also you can uninstall. So yes, there was some bloatware, but it could be actually removed. Another small thing that I appreciate is that we still do get the IR blaster on this one, and in fact I have tested it with my Atomberg fan. I have the Atomberg fan in my office. In fact, I can control it with that. So this IR blaster also works very well. Also, this does have that stereo speakers. In fact, Dolby Atmos is also there. In fact, the stereo speaker, some of you have asked me on Twitter, can go pretty loud. To give you an idea, as you can see, I'll just put it here. Generally, I keep it at this volume and it's pretty loud, but I'll just maximize it. This is the maximum. So I'll just pause it. One thing I like with the stereo speakers on this one is that the volume output is actually balanced. It's not like only 25 or 30% of the volume is coming from the speaker and rest is coming from. It's actually very well balanced. That's why you get that stereo effect a lot better. So no issues regarding stereo speakers. And because the screen quality is also very good, I feel this is a good device for people who consume a lot of media and stuff like that. Also coming to the weight, I do not exactly recall the weight, guys, but it's actually the weight balance is done very well, and it's not a heavy phone. The back, again, this is plastic. I wished they went for the glass back. That's only my nitpicking. But again, if you're getting this phone, just use it with the supplied case, I would say. This is how actually it looks without it. First 2 days I used it without the case, but the last day I was using it with the case that is supplied. This is the case that is supplied. Another thing I like is that the glass protection, the front glass protection is Gorilla Glass Victus on this one, which is a very nice move in my frank opinion. Coming to the performance of this new chipset, that is the reason I took my time to even post this first video a little bit delayed, is the new Snapdragon 8S Gen 3, and this is the first smartphone in India that is coming with this chipset. And in fact, I was a little skeptical about this chipset. How will be its performance? Will it have that heating issues and something like that? And I'm happy to say that this phone did not exhibit any heating issues. In fact, I would say in terms of heating, it heats less than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which was last year's flagship. In fact, in terms of raw performance also, this chipset is very close to performance of this Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which was last year's flagship. So in fact, if we take into account the mid-range or even the premium mid-range smartphones, the performance of this smartphone will come at the top. In fact, I ran Antutu benchmark on this one. Where did it go? In fact, as I told you, I've installed tons of apps, and I ran this Antutu benchmark, if you notice, and POCO was claiming about 1.4 million and close to even 1.5 million. But this I did not run in the high performance mode, but in the default performance modes. And this is the score that I was getting. I wanted to be transparent. If I put it in that, high performance mode, then yes, the benchmark scores will go higher. But again, normally you will use the phone in the balance mode. Also, because of this very high score, I would say the smartphone is also very good for people who are looking for that highest performance. Especially, I would say gamers and stuff like that, they will appreciate that smartphone. I'm not a super hardcore gamer, as you guys know. I played Call of Duty on this one for about 20 minutes at the highest setting, and it played without any issues. And also, if I recall, POCO also has this something called as Wild Boost technology, where it'll artificially up the frames of the games that don't support higher refresh and stuff like that. So if you want to know more about gaming, check out some other channels. But to be frank, even for gaming, the performance was good. In fact, the phone did not heat up that much, I would say. And POCO claims that the cooling on this one is actually 3 times better than most of the vapor cooling chambers that they have. And I would say that is very true, because in regular usage, this phone did not heat up. The only place where I could actually heat up this phone a little bit was when I was running those Antutu benchmarks continuously. So that way, I would say in terms of performance, the processor, the Snapdragon 8S Gen 3 that is there on this one is very, very good. In fact, this has to be the highest performing processor now in this mid-range price point. And I'll be surprised to see this processor at this price point, because we might see a lot of other smartphones also coming with the Snapdragon 8s Gen 3, but I feel those will be priced a lot higher. This one is having that 5000 milliamp hour battery, and again the charging is very, very fast because of the charger. And let me actually show you the battery stats, current battery stats. If I go over here, and if I go to the battery, where is the battery? Over here. The standby time is also actually very good. As you can see, this is off the charger for 26 hours, 29 minutes now. And still, we are actually having 40% battery life left. And this is my single SIM, that is my primary SIM, that is Airtel, guys. So even the standby time is actually good. The first day, I was not getting that much good battery life because it was indexing and stuff. But from the second day, the battery life has improved quite a bit. And if you notice, one thing I do not like in the battery stat is that no way it actually lists the SOT values, guys. So I exactly you can't get the SOT values via this one. So I hope with the update they actually fix it, because actual battery life is good. In fact, with digital well-being, I calculated the SOT on this one, and I was getting SOT, and this is with about 50% on mobile data, that is on 5G, and 50% on Wi-Fi. I would say anywhere I was getting screen on time of about 7 to 7.5 hours, and at end of the day at night I was still had about 19% battery life once and 15% battery life. So you could say screen on time anywhere from about 7 to 8 hours you can get on this smartphone. And general performance, as I've told you, within the UI and all these things, I did not notice any lag. Another good thing is that memory management was also done well on this smartphone, so that's no longer an issue. This is how the multitasking tray. As you can see, I didn't even bother to close old apps and stuff like that. So that way it has been performing well. Now coming to the cellular call quality, the cellular call quality was also very good. The earpiece is loud and clear, and I did not have any proximity sensor issues or anything like that. So that way it is good. And I also tested this with 5G speeds, and as you can see, I got some very good 5G speeds here. As you can see, this was in my old office, where actually that's in the middle of the city, and I got very good 5G speeds, 688. This area is outskirts, and here when I ran the speed test, I got, because of this area, the signal is not that great. But overall, I would say in terms of 5G speeds also, I did not have any issues. The cell reception was also very good on this one. Now let's also talk a little bit about camera. The good thing is that the main camera is a 50 megapixel, and the second is the ultra wide, that's 8 megapixel only. But the good thing is that both these sensors are actually made by Sony, so that's actually very good. Because one thing I noticed is that when you move from the main sensor to the ultra wide, there's not a huge color shift. That is generally a problem in many of the mid-range smartphones, but luckily that was not the case. The front facing is a 20 megapixel guys, with a punch hole kind of a thing, and this is the camera interface. I won't waste a lot of time on this one. As you can see, you get the portrait mode and all those things. But let me actually show you the actual camera samples.
Let's start with some outdoor shots, and these were taken with the main camera, and as you can see, the color reproduction is actually very good, and because of the f1.59 aperture, you can get these shots very easily even without the bokeh mode. The dynamic range is also actually pretty good, and this is the regular shot, and this was in that ultra wide. One more example, a regular shot. This is an artificial lighting, and now I just used the ultra wide. Again, this is an artificial lighting. These samples were taken in night conditions, and as you can see here also, actually it performed pretty well. In fact, the Sony sensor is actually doing a pretty good job even in night and artificial lighting conditions. As you can see, this was mixed lighting conditions. Here also it did a pretty good job. Some more casual samples that I took at night, and I would say it did perform pretty decently. For human subjects also, the skin tones are produced actually pretty well. As you can see, these were taken in the normal mode, and now I actually enabled that portrait bokeh mode, and as you can see here also, it is actually doing a good job. Here are some selfies taken in the normal mode, and here I enabled the portrait bokeh mode for the selfies.
This is being recorded with the rear facing camera, and I've actually kept it to 4K 30. 4K 60 is also possible with the rear facing camera, and I'm just walking to give you an idea how is the stabilization. And again, the grass was very uneven, but at least in the preview it looks actually pretty stable. Now I'm in a slightly shadowed area, so this is how it is doing. Let's see how it handles the exposure, and it's very bright over here, so this is a very bright area, as you can see. and I'm just bringing it back to the shadowed area. So let me also just walk back. So this is a quick sample recorded with the rear facing camera in 4K. Guys, now I'm recording the video with the front facing camera, and the front facing camera maximum video recording is 1080p. It can go up to 1080p 60 fps, but this I'm recording at 1080p 30 fps. And as you can see, I'm shooting this outdoors. The audio is also being recorded via its internal microphone. Let me just move directly into the harsh sun. Actually, you won't do it, but let me just test it out. So again, as you can see, harsh sun is falling on me, and so it looks like this. But when I just move a little back in a slightly shadowed area, here I feel the exposure is doing a far better job. So this is a quick sample recorded with the front facing camera. So guys, this is the POCO F6 5G smartphone. What do I feel about this smartphone? Before I tell you what do I feel about this smartphone, the actual price of the smartphone, the base variant that comes with 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage, is actually 30,000. And there are some card offers. For example, if you use ICICI cards and stuff like that, it will be 2,000 off. So it will be technically 28,000. The only way you can get this up for this 26,000 is if, apart from the card offer, if you even exchange your phone, then you get the 2,000 rupees extra off. So I just want to clarify that. But during the first sale, if I recall, it is on 29th of May. The thing I like is that the regular warranty on the smartphone is 1 year. But if you're going to purchase it on 29th, you will get 2 years of warranty. So that is what it is. Regarding the pricing, yes, the pricing is good, considering the specs that this smartphone has. Snapdragon 8s Gen 3, which actually performed very, very well. I did not have that heating issues or anything. The battery life is good, standby life is good. So it's actually a very good processor. Also, we get very good other hardware also, like Gorilla Glass Victors. The storage, the base is also 256 gigabytes, but that is actually UFS 4.0 storage, which will be so much better in the long run. And this is the fastest type of storage that we can get as of now. In fact, all the super expensive flagship smartphones use that storage. Also, the RAM is also good, LPDDR5x RAM. So overall, if you look at it from the hardware point of view, you are getting a lot of hardware for the price. The only nitpicking that I have is that they should have gone with the glass back instead of this plastic back. But if I'm purchasing this phone, I would urge you to use it for the case. Another small thing that I like, I completely forgot, this is a small thing. I like that this phone is not having that curved edges or something. It's a flat design, which makes it a lot more practical. So that way, I would say it's a very good package. And now the camera performance is also pretty decent. I was not expecting that much with the camera, but the camera performance is also decent on this one. So certainly I would say I can recommend this smartphone to my friends and family members for whom I would say the raw performance is the highest criteria, or they do a lot of gaming. If you're that kind of a person, you can certainly have a smartphone, this smartphone, and I'll be surprised to see any other smartphones with this sort of specs, like Snapdragon 8s Gen 3, UFS 4. Storage, the base storage being 256 gigabytes, Gorilla Glass Victors, and all those things at this price point. So overall, I would say it is aggressive, but again, that 26,000 price point is, again, guys, it's not the regular price. That is with card discount plus exchange. The regular price, if you're just buying the smartphone from Flipkart, it will be at 28,000, even if you use that credit card. I just wanted to be very transparent about that. So this is the POCO F6 smartphone. What do you guys feel about the same? Do let me know in the comment section below. And guys, this was a review unit that was actually sent to me by POCO. But again, I just want to make it very, very clear. All this testing and everything was done independently by me. And there is nothing that they have influenced in this video. I just want to be very transparent about that. Anyways, guys, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care, guys.